Welcome to Strange but True. Take a breath, slow down, and listen carefully. Some stories are documented, some are debated, some refuse to be explained. We tell you the stories. You decide what's true. Now, let's begin our journey. History is not supposed to change suddenly. Cultures evolve, languages shift, rulers rise and fall. But time itself is expected to remain consistent until it doesn't. In the earliest historical records of Mesopotamia, something unusual happens, not gradually, not symbolically, abruptly. The Sumerian King List records a clear dividing line. Before it, kings rule for thousands of years. Authority is described as descending from heaven. The boundary between gods and rulers does not exist. Then the text records a single event, a flood. No description, no narrative detail, no explanation, just a dividing line. And after that moment, everything changes. Rain lengths collapse, not slowly, not unevenly. They fall immediately into ranges that match human experience, hundreds of years, then decades, then spans that feel familiar. Names become recognizable. Cities align with archaeology. Chronology stabilizes. History begins to behave the way we expect it to. What makes this unsettling is not the change itself. It is how the text treats it. There is no announcement, no acknowledgement that the world is different now. The scribes do not pause to explain. They do not reflect. They do not justify the shift. They simply continue recording. This absence of explanation is not accidental. Elsewhere in Mesopotamian records, change is rarely left unaddressed. When dynasties fall, reasons are given. When cities are destroyed, causes are recorded. When divine favor is lost, the loss is explained. But here, none of that happens. The scribes do not frame the flood as punishment. They do not describe it as correction. They do not treat it as myth. It is simply a marker, a boundary the record passes through without comment. What follows is not a restoration of order. It is a different kind of order, one that no longer requires divine presence to function. This shift is never celebrated. There is no sense of progress, no declaration of improvement. The record does not frame the earlier world as false or the later world as better. It simply records that one ends and another continues, as if the scribes believed their role was not to judge the change, only to preserve the fact that it occurred, one that operates within limits, with succession, with inheritance, with law. And the record never explains why this new world replaces the old one, as if nothing unusual has occurred. This silence matters. Ancient scribes were not incapable of explanation. Floods are explained elsewhere. Wars are explained. Curses and omens are described in detail. When cities fall, causes are recorded. When kings lose favor, reasons are given. But this transformation, from a world of impossible reigns to ordinary history, is left untouched. No cause is assigned. No meaning is offered. No reconciliation attempted. It is treated as self-evident, as if the reader already understood why, or as if the reason no longer mattered. From this point forward, the record feels stable. Kings rise and fall. Cities change hands. Time moves at a human pace. The earlier world does not return. There are no attempts to reconcile it, no commentary added in later copies, no effort to harmonize the past with the present. The scribes preserve both eras side by side, one that does not behave like history, and one that does, without choosing between them. This tells us something important. The purpose of the record was not to explain the past. It was to preserve continuity, to show that authority flowed forward, regardless of how strange its origins might appear. If the early era no longer made sense, it was not the scribes' role to resolve it. Their task was to record, and they did. What we're left with is a historical boundary that feels real, but unexplained. A moment where time compresses, where scale collapses, where the world becomes recognizable without telling us why. The Sumerian King List does not claim the earlier world was myth. It does not claim the later world replaced it. It simply moves on, which leaves a quiet, unsettling thought. That history, as we know it, may not begin where we assume it does. That something older existed, ended, and was never explained. History has a way of hiding the truth inside what it chooses not to explain. Inside tales, inside myths, inside legends, inside things that feel just a little off. If this story held your attention, subscribe to Strange But True, because sometimes what sounds unbelievable is exactly where the truth hides.